Hi, I'm Chris Maloney. Let's talk about game arrival and what to do up to the point that you hold the meeting with the captains. So, the first thing is literally arriving to the hockey field. It is best if both umpires come to the field together, walking side by side. Why? Because you are a team. So let's say that the umpires have come down to this field, and let's go over a way that you can check the field, gather information about the field that you're going to have to give to the captains when you have that captains meeting. So let's say the team benches are over here, and the umpires collect there and put their things down, and then they head off onto the field. And what you want to do is kind of go over here to the 25 and then walk down here. And as you're walking, of course, you're inspecting things and you're talking about things. One of the things you're inspecting on a grass field is if there's, any serious mud conditions that need to be corrected, or a hole, the kind of hole the athlete would step into and bust their knee or twist their ankle. And that needs to be corrected before the game begins. Facilities can go grab a, bucket of dirt and fill the hole and pound it down. Anyway, cross the 25 and back and make a wider circle, maybe coming all the way down to the top of the circles and so forth, and going wider and wider, perhaps around the penalty stroke mark. One reason to go around the penalty stroke mark is to make sure it's there. Last time you go around, maybe you're going midway between the center spot and the sideline on this side, and come through the circle, check that penalty stroke mark, and around again. And now you're going to check this goal to see if there are any tears in the netting. By the way, during all this time, you're talking to each other. You're doing what's called pre-gaming, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Then walk along the sideline here. And what you're looking for along the sideline, where many times you'll be running when the players are collected on one of the sidelines, you're going to be outside the sideline in the officiating space out there. So go all the way around, go past the corner markers, make sure that the markers are not on the field or away from the field. They're supposed to be at the corners, touching the corner, not on top of it, just touching the corner. Anyway, then you go down here and you're behind this goal. And as you cross here, you check the goal and you finish your progress around this sideline. And the reason we want to finish up here, not only because that's where our gear is, and we'll, check in with the scorekeeper, but the benches are here. And you want to make sure that the space between the sideline and the benches is clear of any inanimate objects like sticks or goalie bags or anything else. That stuff has to go, backpacks, that has to go behind the bench, so that if you're forced to officiate out in this space, you've got clear running space. You're not going to be looking down when you run, we hope. You're going to be looking out at the play as you run, and you don't want to trip on something. So come down here, check this corner flag, and then down the end line, and then back where you will be holding the meeting with the captains in front of the benches and in the center of the field. We'll talk about the captains meeting in another video. So what do you talk about while you're going around here? Well, what you really want to cover, most importantly, I suppose, are what are, if any, tie-breaking considerations for this game that you're going to have to talk to the captains about. Make sure that they understand when the game is over, it's not really over, it's a tie. Because we have a tie-breaking situation. Maybe we're going 7-aside for 10 minutes each. Golden goal, maybe not a golden goal. Maybe you're going to do penalty strokes right away. Sorry, it wouldn't be a penalty stroke. It'd just be a tie-breaking stroke. Or maybe you're going to be doing a shootout. Who knows? But you got to be on the same page, and you got to be telling the athletes about what the tiebreaker is for this league or this conference. Now, there are other things you talk about, which are sort of the nuances about your game versus the other umpires that you've umpired with. Like maybe you need a lot of help when the ball is coming into the circle from this side and you're this managing umpire for the circle play. Maybe you want to make sure that this umpire doesn't call anything once they're inside the 25 heading towards the circle. Now they're going to have this sideline. They're responsible for this umpire is responsible for this sideline. So fouls really close to the sideline, they're probably going to call, and they'll be a lot closer to the play or have a better view of it than you are standing inside the circle looking through 20 odd players in order to see the play that's going on over there, and maybe through a goalkeeper who's standing perfectly in your way. All right, so you've now inspected the field, you've gathered information, you've talked to your partner about the help that you'll need, and also the way that you want them to communicate about the help. So chances are you'll be using the radios. And let's say something happens as you're coming over here and you don't notice, because you just got blocked out, you don't notice that one of the attackers kicked the ball into the circle. This umpire might have had a great view of it, and they're going to say over the radios, I've got something for you. They do not blow the whistle. The only time they would blow the whistle for something down here is for an off-ball carding offense. But they might have something for you. Let the play continue. You can say thank you. Let the play continue, and then you call timeout. Big whistle, timeout, and you call the other umpire across to you where you are positioned. You don't walk to them, you bring them over because you're in charge and you're demonstrating that. And everybody in the stands are going, oh, I see what's happening here. This umpire has a question. So they're reaching out to this guy. The fans don't know that this guy had anything to say to you, like, I've got something. So you manage that discussion. And even though it was via the radios, this umpire comes over to you. They go 3/4 of the way, you go 1/4 of the way. Have the little discussion. See if maybe you were holding for advantage, right? So you're not going to take the help. Maybe not. This umpire, by the way, I've seen a lot of times where in high school level, this umpire overrules this umpire inside the circle because they're more experienced. Absolutely not allowed. All right, so what else should you do? While you're walking around here, you should be watching the players. And what you're looking for are anything illegal. For example, maybe a player's not wearing shin guards. Might say as you walk by them, hey, you got your shin guards, right? Chances are they say, oh my gosh, I forgot them. They're in my bag. They yell off to their teammate, did you get my shin guards? You look at their sticks. Now, modern hockey sticks are built with a lot of precision, but a lot of high school players will tape penalty corner plays onto their stick. You'll see them, they'll look at it. And then maybe at the end of the season, they've got 20 games worth of penalty corners taped onto their stick. Now you've got a bulge like the size of my fingers. Well, these sticks are built with great precision for the stick ring to go over it, but if there's a bulge because of so many penalty corner plays, then the stick ring is not going to fit over, and it has to fit, the stick has to fit through the ring easily. It's not like you get to force it over the paper and tear the paper and take it off. No, that's not how it works. If the stick ring does not fit over the stick easily, then they have to remove the paper or whatever else is causing the blockage, and then they bring it back to you and say, hey, is this okay? Take out your stick ring again and you check it. Yes, it is. Very good. Thank you very much. Now, who has the biggest advantage of having a thicker stick or wider stick? It can't be more than 2 inches or 51 millimeters. The player that has the biggest advantage for that is the goalkeeper. They'd rather play with a tennis racket if they could, right? Because there's more blocking service. So perhaps while you're walking down here and you come up to the goal for the first time, the players are probably warming up, and you say, hey, goalie, let me check your stick. Put their stick through the ring. Thanks a lot, goalkeeper. I appreciate it. Even if you had no indication that their stick wasn't going to fit through it, put it through. But this is important. When you get down to this end, check that goalie's stick too. So it's clear to everybody in the stands that what you're doing is fair. If you check a stick or 2 sticks on the red team because they've got penalty corners taped onto their stick, then even if the white team doesn't have any penalty corners on their stick, you still check 2 players from the white team so that it is apparent to everyone that you're being fair. All right. There are tools online and a little card like this that will tell you or give you guidance on what else you might want to talk about while you walk around the field. One of the things, another illegal thing, is a player who is doing a forehand. That means they're playing the ball on the right side, the normal side, and they're hitting the ball with the edge of the stick, either edge of the stick. There is no forehand edge of the stick. There's the forehand side of the body, and you're playing the ball on that side. If you play it with the edge of the stick, either edge of the stick, and it is hit hard, that's illegal. I've seen a lot of players practicing this. Now, some umpires might say, well, you can't tell them, that would be coaching. No, it's not coaching to tell somebody that they're doing something, they're practicing something illegal. Coaching is, hey, red player, see that white player over there? They're really bad at stopping push passes. That's coaching. So don't confuse those two things. And if they're practicing something illegal, then tell them. It's not coaching. The last thing I'll mention about this pattern, and the reason you do it, especially if you're new to the field, especially if it's a grass field, is to clearly identify in your mind what lines are being played. Some multi-purpose fields have multiple lines for field hockey. Like it's got a blue goal line and a yellow end line and black sidelines. It's a little bit disappointing to see fields marked that way. But when you go to the captain's meeting, you're going to have to deliver that information so everybody knows what the sidelines are. So that covers best practices for arrival and pregame. If you have any questions, please let us know.